17 to the end of the chapter. Matthew 10, 17 to the end of the chapter. This would be great for you guys to go through. I'm going to jump through quickly, just do it 2 times, and my unprofessionalness. All right, so here we go, 17, right? Now let's jump there. Jesus here is telling his disciples before they go out. He's about to send out the 12, right? His disciples here. And before he sends them out, he wants to kind of prepare them for something, right? Before I send you guys out here on this mission, there's something you need to know. And here he goes in preparing them for what they may face or possibly face. Here's some of the things they may face. Threats, physical harm, public ridicule, and they may even be rejected by loved ones. I mean, here he is like, guys, let's do ministry, right? Let's go. I'm going to send you out. By the way, you may face threats, physical harm, public ridicule, rejection by loved ones. I don't know. How many of you would continue? Now me telling you this, how many of you are ready to move forward with that when you may face physical harm? In this country, and I'm going to use this word lightly, unfortunately, we may not face that. Why would I say something like unfortunately? Because when knowing that you may face that physical harm and you still commit to it, that's saying something about your commitment. We don't have to, I mean, our commitment might be weak because we know I'm not going to be beat up because of that. Maybe I will. And you know what? There have been some spots of that here in our country. Very minor spots, but they've been there. But not enough to where if you're some other countries, just carrying a Bible, just saying the word, you're dead. You're dead. Not just beat up, you're dead. Think about that. Or your family's dead because you decided to associate with Jesus Christ. How many of us would be willing to do that? Right? But what does Jesus say when it comes to threats? Jesus' response to threats was, one day every knee shall bow and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. Meaning, at one day everyone will know. So don't worry about the threats that they say to you, because they're going to know one day. So don't worry about that. See, I'm not going to leave you hanging and just tell you you're going to be beat up, yelled at, and stuff like that. I'm going to tell you that there's hope in each and every one of those, because it may come. Physical harm. What did Jesus say to them about physical harm? He said, don't worry about that. Don't be afraid of what? Those who can hurt the body, who can hurt the physical body, but can't destroy what? Your soul. Your soul is indestructible when it's in the hands of Christ. So who cares about this body? This is just a rented vessel that I'm passing through. If I want to be a true follower and disciple of Jesus Christ, guess what? This is just flesh. This is just a suit that I'm wearing. But my soul that is carried will last forever. Right? So think about that. Don't worry about physical harm. Public ridicule. Being ridiculed in public. Right? Being picked out and made fun of and stuff like that. Jesus also said and told them, right? He said, if you acknowledge me or confess me to man, my Father, I will confess you to my Father. Think about that. Jesus is willing to step in on your behalf and confess you to his Father. Acknowledge you. How cool is that? Think about that. So, not only are there these things that may happen, yes, almost when these will happen. You know, I fear that the other day I may have fallen into one of these and may have been afraid of one of them. There was a woman on her phone in Big Lots. I like to shop at Big Lots here and there. Some good stuff there. I was actually picking up stuff for the strip, right? So I should have been, filled with the Spirit and ready to go because I'm going to a closer walk, Christian event, right? So here I am packing, grabbing some granola bars, some other thing, some water. And I hear this woman on her cell phone going, well, we can just live however we want. I know I don't go to church all the time, but it's not a big deal because, just because we've been taught one thing when we were younger, now, that we're allowed to have our own opinions, da-da-da-da-da. So I was like, ooh. Then she went down one aisle, and then I went down another aisle, and then I heard her down, she came down my aisle again. Well, I don't have to be a good person, or not that, can't just being a good person be enough. Can't being a good person just be enough. I'm trying my best, and isn't that just enough? And I've been through a Way of the Master training. So when I heard, can I just be a good person? So I was like, uh-oh. So I stalked her for a little bit, I'll be honest, Going down that aisle. What do I need down here? Oh, girl stuff. Oh, awkward. All right. Big Lots even has that. I'm like, oh, come on, I'm not shopping there. So finally I look and I'm like, uh-oh. She's off her phone. No, she's not. She's still talking. All right. So then I finish my shop and I go outside. I'm like, all right, I do one of those. Well, God, if I see her again, then maybe all right, God. All right, knowing I probably will never see her again. So I go to Kmart, which is right next to Big Lots, because I go to Kmart, Big Lots first, see what I didn't get, or I still need, then I go to Kmart. And then I figure, find it there. So I'm in there. I come walking out of the store, and who's standing there? Yeah, she's standing there. But this time she's talking to somebody and buying something. I wish I told you I waited. I wish I told you that my thoughts in my head weren't, I don't want to bother her. I wish the thoughts in my head weren't, what if I create an awkward situation? I wish I could tell you that I stayed and talked to her, but I can't. You see, I walked away, and I got in my car, and a life may not spend eternity because of me, because I was unwilling to be a true follower and disciple of Christ regardless of the cost. And that eats me up today as I stand here before you broken and vulnerable, telling you that I am not perfect, and unfortunately there may be a soul that is not going to spend eternity in heaven because I thought more about myself, because I loved Jason Marshall, because I needed to get home, because my wife was my baby and I loved them more. Had I loved God more, I would have been willing to do what it takes to be about my Father's business. Had I loved God more at that moment, I would have forgotten about anything that could have happened to me, and I would have waited and I would have said to her, listen, I heard your conversation. I didn't mean to be nosy, but do you really think you can be a good person? Are you a good person? And I would have continued to share the gospel with her regardless of her response and regardless of the time it took out of my schedule to get ready for a Christian event. So, I want you to understand as I wrap up and close up here. Some of you are coming up here to be baptized today. Some of you made a very strong commitment. Matter of fact, it said when John the Baptist was doing it, it said they confessed and then they were baptized. There's no waiting. It's a commandment that God has made. I waited for the longest time because I wanted it to be beautiful. I wanted to be on the beach, and I wanted there to be thousands of my friends, and they all get saved as I was dunked. I mean, I had the picture perfect baptism happening. I mean, literally, I pictured going under, coming up, and just all my friends and family falling on their faces and worshiping God, and I come up like that. Instead, our church was in the middle of construction. We were in an old gym, and the building was torn apart, worse than a warehouse. The pool was being filled with we were breaking walls apart, so it was dusty and dark, and we were in we saved the whirlpool there, and it was kind of this freezing cold water, and I think maybe just my parents were able to come. And I got baptized. God just has a funny way of doing things. He said, Jason, stop waiting. I commanded you to be baptized. That's not an option. That's come now. So some of you are coming up here today to get baptized and say publicly, I am a follower of Jesus Christ. The old is gone and the new has come. I'm a new man who is ready to follow regardless of the cost, regardless of what I have to forsake, regardless of what I have to reorient or change. I'm ready to follow. So I'm going to pray for us. Some of you made commitments last night, and I hope that you keep those commitments, now understanding even deeper what he meant by forsaking, reorienting, and following him. Some of you, it just went right over the head, and that's fine. Again, I'd rather you be cold. And some of you are saying, yes, I wanted to be baptized, but now I want to be baptized even more. And some of you are going to be committed to Christ that can relate to that story I just shared about yesterday. This was yesterday I did that. Or it was yesterday morning that I did that. But some of you can relate and go, man, yeah, I love myself too much. As I pray, I'm not going to bring everyone up here because I don't want to get too crowded with the baptisms that people that will need to be up here for that. But Where you are, you can make the same type of commitment.